Want to get back to the breaking news tonight. St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner is resigning from her office. We have that resignation letter, and it reads in part, quote, "I cannot be the final circuit attorney ever to be elected in St. Louis. You must be able to have a voice in your criminal justice system, and we must allow our office to continue to operate. The most powerful weapon I have to fight back against these outsiders stealing your voices and your rights is to step back. I took this job to serve the people of the city of St. Louis, and that is still my North Star." She went on to say, "And so it is with a heavy heart but steadfast resolve that I am resigning my position as your circuit attorney effective June 1st. And your News 4 team has been on this case from the very beginning. Our investigators Lauren Traeger and Susan Elcoury joining me now. And we are joined by former Circuit Attorney Jennifer Joyce for a deeper discussion about what this means for the justice system here in St. Louis and how we move forward from here. So Jennifer, thanks for being here. There's so much to get to in this discussion. I'll start the conversation. And this really is the first time that we've been able to talk to you since everything really has transpired with your former office. So as you have observed and you've seen some of the headlines, what has been your reaction as the former circuit attorney?
Well, it's been a mix of emotions. Today, I'm sad to see this eventually happen. I kind of felt like it would. But I'm grateful to Kim Gardner for doing what she can to stop the legislation that was looking like it was going to happen, where the office essentially would not exist anymore. And you got to understand, this is an office that's been there for over 100 years, yeah. And it has a very proud history. And many people, including myself, were very concerned about that legislation basically doing away with the office and the ability of the St. Louisans to elect their own prosecutor.
I talked about that resignation date of June 1st, so we have several weeks until that would go into effect. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for the office for this to really kind of transpire over the next few weeks there?
Well, I think it was a surprising thing, but whether it's good or bad, it's going to come down to what Ms. Gardner does. If she opens her doors and lets a transition team come in and start to do their work, I think it could be okay. So it's really up to her whether this is a good thing or not. And my hope is that she will do what she needs to do to make sure that this transition is a smooth one.
And I know our investigators Susan Elcoury and Lauren Traeger also have some questions for you. Susan, I think you have a question.
Now, we've been doing a lot of reporting recently just on cases and how they've been handled here by prosecutors. We have times where there have been documented missteps. What does this mean for some of those cases that are still pending, and how does someone step into an office that has had so many issues?
Well, it's going to be a big job, and that's what I want to call on everybody in the city of St. Louis to rally behind this office and to set their politics aside. Regardless of what they think about the governor, he's going to appoint someone to take over this office, and they're going to need everybody's support, meaning the mayor, the police, the judges. Everybody has to rally behind this new circuit attorney and support them. And they will eventually, my hope is, be able to get the office on a solid footing again.
I guess a quick follow-up before we get to Lauren is, do you expect other prosecutors from St. Charles County, Warren counties, all these surrounding counties to jump in and help? I guess they've offered that help, but that hasn't been accepted by Gardner. But do you expect that to happen?
Well, I expect that they will. I know I'm a former president of the Missouri Prosecutors Association. I still have a lot of contacts with those people, and I know that they're very, very concerned about what they see, and they want to help in any way they can. I also know that it's a great job to work at the Circuit Attorney's office. Like I said, the office has been there over 100 years. Multiple judges, state, federal, pillars of the legal community have all worked in that office. And when I see them to a person, they all say it's the best job they ever had. So my hope is that we get back to that kind of office and we are able to attract people to come and work there. I'm hopeful. I don't know any reason why that wouldn't be the case, but it's going to take some work and it's going to take support from everybody to get this office on the right footing again.
Let's get to Chief Investigator Lauren Traeger. Lauren, I think you have a question.
Sure, Jennifer, to that end, I have heard from some former prosecutors in this office who have expressed some interest in returning under a different circuit attorney. Would you encourage them to do that? And also, how would be the best way for the new person to attract people to come and work here?
Well, I think it's just a tremendous job. I mean, public service is such an honor, and it's an important thing to do. You can also get a lot of skills working in the circuit attorney's office. I think once the office is stabilized, it's not going to be hard to attract people. I encourage all former assistant circuit attorneys to come back. I encourage any lawyer listening to me right now that wants to get involved, wants to help out, to please contact the circuit attorney's office. We're going to need a lot of support to turn this office around, but we will, and it'll go back to being an office that everybody can be proud of.
Let's talk about tackling some of these cases, because there's a lot of them. In fact, we've learned that some prosecutors have more than 100 cases that are assigned to them. So give us some perspective. Is that a high number? And how does whoever is in charge next tackle that amount of cases?
Well, it all depends on the type of case. If I have 100 traffic cases, that's not a very high number.
Sure.
If I have 100 homicides, that's not workable. And based on the news reporting that I've seen, the types of caseloads that are being carried right now by the attorneys with all the turnover that she's had recently, it's not sustainable. And I've got to believe in part that's what persuaded Ms. Gardner to leave, because that just seemed to be something that was continuing on. And again, I applaud her for leaving when she did. I applaud the reasons why she left. And I think that was a very good thing on her part. They're going to need more attorneys. Yeah. They have so many cases, so many violent, serious cases. They need attorneys to handle them. So it's really important that job one is to stabilize that office, is to attract attorneys to either come back, or if you haven't been there before, come interview with us. The law schools, St. Louis University, Washington University can play an important role in that. It's really important that we get good people in there to be able to raise that office up to where it should be.
All right, another question from Susan O'Corey.
Well, and Jennifer, we just heard you talking about some of the things we're going to need to expect to see from whoever steps in here. A lot of attention, though, on Governor Mike Parson, who has to appoint that person. How do you think he's going to go about trying to pick that person? And also, it has to be said, Kim Gardner is a Democrat. The governor is a Republican. Could we be seeing some party lines here? Could we see a Republican be put here?
Yes, I think we could. There's precedent for this. When George Peach was resigned, Governor Ashcroft, then Governor Ashcroft, and I believe this was in the early 90s, appointed Richard Swatek, who was a Republican lawyer, to that position. And he served there for almost a year before he ran for re-election and didn't win. I believe that the governor is going to really try and pick a good person. I hope that's what he's going to do. I think if he's smart, he's going to pick somebody that can really stay and withstand the election process in the city of St. Louis. So whether that's a Democrat or someone who's more moderate, the truth be told, politics doesn't have a lot to do with this office. It really doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. If you commit a murder in the city of St. Louis, you should be held accountable for doing that. So it's really not a political issue. And that's why I hope that the mayor, the police chief, everybody involved in St. Louis government, everybody in the community support whoever this person is, regardless of their political party. It's time for us to rally around this office.
And let's get one more from Chief Investigator Lauren Traeger. Lauren?
Yeah, just to kind of wrap up on that point, I believe you mentioned George Peach, but otherwise, can you kind of contextualize for us just the history of essentially this tenure, but also today's moment? Is this really a history-making moment?
Well, I think it is. I think she made history when she was elected. Let's not forget, she's one of the first female, the third female, and the first black female, the first black circuit attorney. I mean, that's a tremendous event in the city's history, and it's one that we should all be proud of. The fact that she is leaving today under these circumstances, I think also will be remembered in history.
You retired in 2017, and while you're sitting here at the desk, I had to ask any interest of returning to that office if they approached you about that.
Well, I'm happy to help in any way I can. You know, Corey, since I retired, I'm a consultant now, and I work with prosecutors all over the country. And I've seen really strong prosecutors' offices, very effective, and I've seen ones that aren't run very well. So I really do, I think I have some information that may be helpful. I'm happy to provide any information I can, but I cannot see wanting to go back to the grind there. As you know, I'm a digital nomad now, and that won't work for being the circuit attorney.
Well, you've given us some tremendous insight today. I know Lauren and Susan, we all appreciate you being here. Thank you again for that insight as we watch what's unfolding over the next few weeks and months, and there's a lot to be done. Jennifer Joyce, thank you.
Thank you.